You must learn to dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not as something to come, not as something far away, but as a state that already is. You do not wait for the outer world to give you permission to feel rich, loved, successful, or healed. You assume the feeling now, within. That is the secret. You walk, breathe, and speak from the place of already having. To act as though you have everything is not about pretense or arrogance. It is about alignment. When you align your inner world with your desire, the outer world reflects it back. You are not deceiving yourself. You are stepping into the truth that imagination creates reality. The world outside is only a mirror, and the reflection changes when your inner state does. You carry yourself with quiet confidence, not because someone told you to, but because you know that the feeling within is what truly matters. You don't have to tell others what you're doing. You don't even need them to understand. You simply live from the end. You move as one who already is, already has, already knows. Your actions, your tone, your choices, they all arise from this inner certainty. You might not see it with your eyes yet, but you feel it in your soul. That feeling is more real than what your senses report. Your senses are delayed, they catch up later. The unseen is not less real, it is the cause. So when you imagine something beautiful and claim it as yours, you are acting from the highest law of creation. Speak as though your prayers are answered. Think as if your dream is ordinary reality. Give thanks for it, not in hope, but in knowing. Gratitude becomes your natural expression, not for what's coming, but for what already is. You live each day with the assurance that the world is bending to the shape of your imagination. This is not pretending in the usual sense. It is assuming your rightful place. You don't look at your bank account to determine if you are prosperous. You don't look at your relationship status to decide if you are loved. You look within, and you claim the state you desire as your own. That claiming is not passive. It is the seed that shapes tomorrow. So carry yourself as one who has already received the blessing, not in haste, not in desperation, but in quiet assurance. The world cannot help but respond to your inner conviction. The law is simple. Assume the state, and let life arrange itself around it. Feel it now, live it now, and all things shall be added unto you. To live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to bring the future into the present, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. It is not about wishing or hoping for a better tomorrow. It is about claiming that tomorrow as a fact right now within your own consciousness. When you close your eyes and dwell in imagination, you are not merely daydreaming. You are engaging in the creative act that sets the tone of your reality. And this is where everything begins. You must not approach this as a technique to get something, but as a way of being. You embody the state of already having what you desire, and you allow yourself to feel the peace, joy, and certainty that comes with that fulfillment. The world outside may still look the same, but you no longer respond to it from lack. You respond from completion. The feeling is everything. It is the bridge between your inner world and the physical manifestation. When you allow yourself to feel rich or loved or healed, even if nothing has changed externally, you are planting the seed in consciousness. That seed, once impressed deeply enough with feeling, must express itself in form. You don't need to figure out how it will happen. The outer world takes care of the how. Your job is to remain loyal to the inner state. This is not about fooling yourself. This is about entering the state so fully that the outer conditions no longer dominate your belief system. You no longer say, I will be or I hope to be. You say, I am. This I am is sacred. It is the center of your being. Whatever you attach to it becomes your reality. So when you say, I am successful, and you feel it deeply, the subconscious mind takes that as truth. It doesn't question whether it's visible yet. It only responds to the feeling. The feeling is the prayer. The feeling is the claim. You must persist in that feeling, even when everything outside contradicts it. That's where true power lies. Not in reacting to life, but in consciously choosing your inner state, regardless of what life appears to be. Think of the feeling of already having what you want. Imagine waking up in your dream home or hearing the voice of the person you love telling you they adore you. Imagine the satisfaction of a goal achieved, the relaxation of knowing everything is in place. Don't just think it, feel it. Let it saturate you so deeply that it becomes more real than the current facts. The current facts are old. They are echoes of former thoughts. They do not define you unless you continue to give them your emotional allegiance. To live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled means you begin to withdraw your energy from doubt, worry, and waiting. You stop asking when will it come and instead affirm it is already mine. This is not a game of timing, it's a shift of identity. You step into the version of yourself who already lives the life you desire. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. You let go of seeking and begin enjoying. Even in the quiet moments of your day, you dwell in that feeling. You cultivate it like a sacred garden. That feeling becomes your dwelling place, your home, your sanctuary. No one else needs to understand what you're doing. This is not about outward performance. You don't have to explain yourself. The shift happens in silence. In the privacy of your own being, you close your eyes and see what you choose to see. You hear what you long to hear. You feel what you most want to feel. And you do it now, not tomorrow, not when the bank account changes or the person calls you, but now. The more often you return to that inner state, the more natural it becomes. It begins to replace the old patterns of lack and fear. It becomes your new emotional home. And that's when things begin to shift. But even before they do, you will find peace. Because to live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to take possession of your own consciousness. You are no longer at the mercy of the world. You are no longer trying to manipulate circumstances. You are claiming your divine inheritance through imagination and feeling. You understand that the world is a reflection, not a cause. You stop chasing shadows and instead go straight to the source, your own awareness. You don't force things to happen. You rest in the knowing that they already have. You learn to trust the invisible. You become more intimate with the feeling than with the facts. You begin to prioritize your inner world. When doubts come, as they will, you gently return to the feeling. You remind yourself that you are not asking for something, you are assuming it is done. And in that assumption, in that sacred act of feeling, creation begins. The world molds itself to your inner image. The opportunities arise, the right people appear, and the outer world begins to echo the inner one. But you don't do it for the result, you do it because it is who you are now. Living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled becomes a daily practice. It becomes your way of seeing the world. You look at life through the lens of already having, already being, already knowing. You realize that your power lies not in controlling others or external events, but in mastering your own emotional atmosphere. When you feel the joy of fulfillment, the world cannot help but reflect it. And so you return to the feeling again and again, not to get something, but to remember who you truly are. To act from your desire instead of toward it is to move from the inner conviction that what you seek is already yours. It is a radical shift from striving to being, from chasing to expressing. This shift does not require that the physical evidence be present. It only requires your decision to identify with the state you long for. You no longer try to become, you are. You no longer reach for your dream, you live from it. The world may still look unchanged, but your inner position is entirely new. You're not hoping to be successful. You're thinking, speaking, and choosing as one who already is. This state of being is the key. When you act from the end, you're not driven by lack, you're moved by fulfillment. The distinction is subtle but powerful. When you act toward your desire, you keep it in the future. You confirm to your subconscious that it's something distant, separate, and not yet yours. Every effort to get it reinforces the belief that you do not have it now. But when you act from your desire, you impress your subconscious with the assumption that it is already a fact. That impression, held faithfully and felt deeply, becomes the blueprint for the world around you. You don't need to explain it. You don't need to justify it. You simply dwell in the identity of already having. And your behavior begins to naturally flow from that identity. Your thoughts become clear and confident. Your speech reflects certainty instead of need. Your posture, your choices, your rhythm all begin to align with the state you've claimed. It's not about pretending or faking. It's about embodying a truth that the outer world has not yet caught up with. But you do not wait for proof. You are the proof. The way you carry yourself becomes evidence of the unseen reality you've accepted within. And this inner posture shapes the outer world in time. When you act from your desire, your energy shifts. You're no longer moved by desperation or longing. You're no longer asking for permission to dream. You are already living the dream internally. And because the subconscious does not know the difference between what is vividly imagined and what is physically real, it accepts your inner assumption as truth. That truth begins to organize your environment to match it. Opportunities you could not plan for arise. People are drawn to you in ways you could never script. But none of that surprises you because you've already lived it within. This is not about forcing outcomes or manipulating circumstances. It is about surrendering to a higher law, the law of assumption. You no longer look to the outer world to tell you who you are. You look within and decide who you are, and then act accordingly. You do not wait for the phone call before feeling chosen. You feel chosen, and then the phone call comes. You don't wait for money to feel secure. You feel secure, and then the money flows. The outer follows the inner, always. To act from the end is to be loyal to your vision even when the facts seem unchanged. It is to walk as the person who has, even if the senses say you have not. You begin to speak with the voice of fulfillment. You speak about your life with gratitude. You take care of yourself as someone who knows their worth. You spend time not as a person trying to fix their life, but as one who already has peace, love, and clarity. The actions that arise from this inner stance are filled with confidence and calm. You no longer rush. You no longer strive. You create with quiet authority. People around you may not understand this shift, and that's okay. You're not seeking approval. You're living from truth, and truth needs no validation. When you act from the end, you let go of worry. You release attachment. You no longer ask, will this happen? You already know it has happened in the unseen. That knowing becomes your anchor. You return to it in your thoughts. You rehearse it in your imagination. And when you act in the world, your steps are guided by that inner alignment. This changes how you approach everything. You don't go to a job interview trying to impress. You go as one who already belongs. You don't seek love by proving your worth. You radiate love because you already feel complete. You don't chase validation. You are validation in motion. The actions you take are not designed to get. They are expressions of what you already are. This is the difference between doing and being. One says, let me work hard to become. The other says, let me act in harmony with who I already am. Even in small moments, this shift becomes your compass. If you were already wealthy, how would you respond to a challenge? If you were already deeply loved, how would you speak to yourself? If you were already successful, how would you walk into that room? Let that version guide your next step. Let that inner self take the lead. You are not trying to force an outcome. You are simply allowing the outer world to catch up with the truth you've claimed inside. There is no need to wait. The only delay is in your identification. The moment you fully accept that you are already the one you wish to be, your actions begin to reflect that acceptance. That reflection is what changes your life, not through effort, but through alignment. Not through pressure, but through presence. The more you act from this place, the more natural it becomes. It ceases to be a practice and becomes your new way of being. You are no longer performing, you are revealing. You are no longer striving, you are receiving. You are no longer trying to manifest, you are living what you've already accepted as true. Imagination is not a passive tool to entertain the mind. It is the very womb of creation. All things, all experiences, all conditions are born first in the imagination before they ever show up in the world of form. To use your imagination deliberately is to take control of your life from the inside out. It is the sacred faculty through which you select and occupy the state you desire. The outer world is a reflection of what has already been impressed upon the inner world. You are not at the mercy of what appears. You are the cause behind what appears, whether consciously or unconsciously. So when you begin to imagine with intention, you are not escaping reality. You are constructing it. The secret is to make your imagined scenes as vivid and as real as possible, not just in picture, but in sensation. You must feel what it would feel like if it were true. You don't imagine to get something, you imagine because it is already yours. The moment you see yourself in possession of your desire in imagination, and you feel the thrill of it as if it were already done, you have activated the power that brings it into physical expression. Imagination fused with feeling becomes the channel through which the unseen becomes seen. It is through this inner act that you give life to your desired state. You may sit in a chair in a quiet room, but within your mind you can walk through your dream home, feel the softness of the couch, smell the flowers in the hallway, hear the laughter of your loved ones. These details are not fantasy. They are the raw material of manifestation. The clearer and more emotionally charged your inner scenes become, the more your subconscious begins to accept them as true. Once accepted, they must project outward into the screen of space. The law is perfect. What you accept within must appear without. You are always imagining something. So the question is not if you are imagining. Most people use their imagination destructively. They rehearse failure. They play out worst-case scenarios. They dwell in memories of regret or conversations that never happen. And then they wonder why life feels heavy and chaotic. But the same imagination that creates sorrow can create joy. The same power that holds a grudge can be turned to hold a vision. It is not imagination that is the problem. It is the direction it is given. When you begin to use this faculty deliberately, to build and rehearse only what you want to experience, your entire life begins to change. You must treat your imagined world as more real than the so-called facts. This is not denial, it is discipline. You are not ignoring your current conditions, you are overriding them. You are impressing a new pattern upon the subconscious. And because the subconscious doesn't argue or reason, it responds only to the repeated feeling of what is impressed. If you imagine yourself abundant, joyful, loved, and free, and feel it consistently, your outer world begins to mold itself around that inner certainty. The people, events, and situations required to match that inner vision begin to appear. You didn't have to chase them, you had to assume them. Your imagination becomes your workshop. You go there to design your life in advance. You select the end result and live from it internally. You rehearse your success, not as something you hope for, but as something you already experience. You return to that feeling often. You let it become natural to you. Even when the world tells you it isn't so, you continue to imagine that it is. Not with strain, but with quiet conviction. Not with desperation, but with assurance. And that assumption, carried faithfully, births a new reality. You do not need anyone's permission to imagine. You don't need approval, credentials, or evidence. You simply need to close your eyes and claim your desire as if it were already fulfilled. You don't wait for the conditions to be right. You create the conditions through your inner attention. You are never too late. You are never too far behind. The moment you begin to imagine the life you want and feel its truth, you've stepped into a new dimension of experience. The outer world will follow your inner decision. Many are waiting for something outside to change so they can finally feel the way they want to feel. But the truth is, the feeling must come first. You do not feel successful because you succeed. You succeed because you feel successful. You do not feel loved because someone loves you. You are loved because you have accepted love within. Imagination is the gateway through which these states are planted. Once planted, they grow. The harvest is inevitable. You only need to be faithful to the vision. Return to it again and again. Let it become more familiar than your doubts. The beauty of imagination is that it is limitless. You can revise past experiences to remove their power. You can construct future scenes to align with your deepest desires. You can transform your present moment simply by changing your inner atmosphere. You may not be able to control people or events directly, but you can control your inner state, and your inner state controls your experience. The outer world is not fixed. It is fluid. It rearranges itself to match the assumptions you carry most consistently. Even if the world tells you that your dream is impossible, you do not need to argue. You simply persist in seeing it within. You walk, talk, think, and feel from that place until it becomes your new reality. And when it does, you will not be surprised, because you will have lived it long before it arrived. You will know that it was never a matter of time, but of alignment. The moment you imagined it clearly and felt it deeply, the process began. And though the world may take time to catch up, the truth was established the moment you claimed it. The words you speak, whether aloud or within the silence of your own mind, carry a vibration. They are not just sounds or passing thoughts, they are creative acts. Every time you say, I am, you are planting a seed. And what follows those two words will grow into the experience of your life. To speak as though you already have what you desire is not delusion, it is alignment. You are aligning your inner speech with the state you wish to occupy. The words you choose become the building blocks of your world. And when they are saturated with belief and feeling, they take root in your subconscious and manifest in the external world. Most people speak from their present circumstances. They say things like, I don't have enough, I'm still waiting, I wish I could, or I'll try. These statements, though seemingly harmless, are confessions of limitation. They reinforce the very conditions one wishes to change. The subconscious does not judge whether something is good or bad, true or false. It accepts whatever is repeated with feeling as fact. So when you continue to affirm lack, fear, or delay, you are imprinting those states more deeply into your life. But when you shift your language, you begin to shift your state. And when you shift your state, you shift your reality. To speak as though you already are what you want to be and already have what you desire is to speak the language of the fulfilled. This is not about forcing or faking, it is about claiming. It is about knowing that your words are creative acts, not descriptions of conditions, but declarations of truth. If you desire health, you say, I am whole, I am well, I am strong. Even if the senses say otherwise, you do not contradict your inner word. Persist in speaking from the higher truth, not the lower fact. If you desire abundance, you say, I always have more than enough. Money flows freely to me. I live in ease and provision. These are not empty affirmations. They are statements of identity. You are not hoping for something to happen. You are recognizing what is true in consciousness and allowing it to externalize. Your inner dialogue is the script that life follows. Every day, without realizing it, people narrate their own limitations. They say things like, that never works out for me. I always struggle with this. People like me don't get that kind of break. And life, being obedient, reflects those assumptions. But you can rewrite the script. You can begin to tell a new story, not based on what has been, but on what you have chosen to become. Speak from your desired state. Instead of, I hope to be successful one day, declare, success is natural to me. Instead of, I'm trying to find love, say, I am deeply loved and appreciated. Even if no one hears it, even if you say it only in silence, it is heard by the one power that creates all things, your own consciousness. Words are not idle. They impress themselves upon the subconscious, and the subconscious, being impersonal and infinitely creative, brings forth their likeness. If you repeat, I don't know how, you will continue not to know. But if you begin to say, I always find the way, suddenly clarity will come, doors will open, assistance will appear. It is not magic, it is law. Your words set the tone of your vibration, and your vibration determines your experience. You are not asking for permission to be who you want to be. You are declaring it with authority. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. Consistency matters. It is not enough to speak your truth once and then return to doubt. Repetition impresses. Just as a drop of water can wear away stone, your persistent inner speech carves a new reality. Speak the words of your fulfilled self over and over, especially in the quiet moments. Let them be the background music of your mind. When fear tries to speak louder, gently return to your chosen truth. When the world tempts you to talk about lack or worry, return inward and say, that may be what appears, but I know who I am. I am safe. I am supported. I am thriving. You are never too far from your desire. It is not distance that keeps it away. It is contradiction. When your words match your wish and your feelings match your words, you are in alignment. And in alignment, everything you need is drawn to you. You don't chase the dream. You speak it into being. You don't beg for change. You become the change in language, in tone, in posture. Every cell in your body begins to respond to the new vibration. The people around you begin to respond. Circumstances begin to shift. It all begins with how you speak about yourself, to yourself, and about your life. Even when no one else believes, you believe. Even when the facts say otherwise, you continue to declare the truth of your desire fulfilled. That is the essence of faith. Not waiting to see, but choosing to speak as if you've already seen. And in doing so, you cause the unseen to become seen. There is no limit to what you can declare. There is no ceiling on the transformation that can unfold when your words carry conviction. You don't have to know how it will happen. You only need to keep speaking from the end, and life will rearrange itself to match your word. You are not weak. You are not at the mercy of chance. You are not powerless. You are the voice of the creative force in your world. What you say with belief becomes. What you affirm consistently becomes your foundation. It may not happen overnight. It may not unfold in the way your mind expects, but it will happen. Because the universe is responsive and your inner word is the command. Choose your words with care. Speak as one who knows the truth, not one who is waiting for it. Declare your identity, not your circumstance. Speak the language of the finished work. Speak from wholeness, from abundance, from love, from peace. Speak from the place where all is already well. You are never waiting for something to happen. You are only ever awakening to what already is. The great illusion is time, the sense that there is a delay between who you are and who you want to be, between what you have and what you desire. But what you seek is already present within you in potential. It exists now, not in the distant future, not as a reward for effort, but as a state of being waiting to be claimed. The key is not to wait, but to feel that you already have what you desire and to live from that place. There is no power in longing. Longing affirms separation. Power lies in assuming the feeling that the desire is already yours and that your world is merely catching up with your inner conviction. When you dwell in a state of "I'm still waiting," you unconsciously affirm that you do not yet have. And the law of consciousness mirrors back what you affirm. You see, the subconscious mind doesn't respond to time. It doesn't understand future tense. It only knows now. Whatever you feel to be true now is what it accepts and expresses. So if you feel that you are still hoping, still searching, still preparing, that is exactly what will be prolonged. But when you feel that you are already in possession of the thing desired, regardless of outer evidence, you shift your inner state, and life responds to that shift with precision. You are the only gatekeeper of your reality. No one outside of you decides when your desire will manifest. It is not a matter of deserving more or working harder or proving yourself. It is a matter of identity. Who do you believe you are? What state do you occupy in consciousness? Are you someone who has or someone who waits? This distinction, though subtle, is everything. The person who waits never arrives, but the person who has, they begin to notice subtle changes in their world. People, events, and circumstances start to reflect back their inner shift. The bridge of incidents unfolds naturally, sometimes miraculously, because you are no longer reaching, you are receiving. Feeling is the secret. You must not simply say the words, but allow the feeling of fulfillment to saturate your being. Not a desperate wanting, but a gentle knowing, a peaceful confidence that you are already where you're meant to be. You do not pretend, you do not force, you rest in the assumption. You carry yourself with the posture of one who already possesses the treasure. Your emotions soften, your anxiety dissolves. You smile, not because something has happened, but because you know it is done. You no longer act from a place of hoping, you act from a place of being. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. There is nothing to force. Trying to make something happen is a signal that you still believe it is separate from you. True manifestation is effortless because it emerges from identity. The flower does not struggle to bloom. It simply expresses its nature. In the same way, when you dwell in the state of already having, life reorganizes itself to match the vibrational truth you carry. Your job is not to worry about how it will come, but to remain faithful to the feeling that it is already yours. From this place, you will be inspired to act, to speak, to move, but never from pressure, only from inner certainty. The illusion of waiting often traps people in cycles of frustration. They believe their desire is far off, dependent on external changes or divine timing. But divine timing is not a delay, it is the perfect synchronization of your inner state and the outer world. The moment you fully assume the state, you activate that timing. It's not about passivity, it's about understanding that the seed has already been planted, and the harvest is inevitable if you continue to water it with belief. You don't keep digging it up to see if it's growing. You don't question whether it's working. You continue to live as if the fruit is already ripe, and in time it appears. Faith is not merely belief in the invisible, it is living from it. You don't wait for proof to feel successful. You feel successful, and then the proof comes. You don't wait to be loved to feel lovable. You feel lovable and love appears. This is the great paradox. The world is a mirror, not a cause. You do not respond to life, you create it. And the creation happens not by striving, by inhabiting the version of yourself that already exists in imagination, and by allowing the outer world to reflect that truth in its own timing. Every day is a chance to live from the end, to wake up and say it is done, to walk through your moments as if everything you desire is already a part of your world. You don't need to explain it to anyone, you don't need to justify it, you only need to carry the feeling. You speak from it, you act from it, you think from it. And soon you begin to notice a shift, not just in your circumstances, but in your awareness. Life becomes lighter, you stop chasing and start magnetizing. People respond to your energy, opportunities arise without struggle. You are not doing more, you are simply being more of who you truly are. There is great power in silence. In quiet moments, return to the feeling. Rest in the knowing. Say nothing but feel everything. Let your heart lead. Let your imagination paint pictures of your ideal life, and do not chase those images, merge with them. Breathe as if you were already there. Feel your body relax. Feel your chest open. Feel gratitude as if the gift has already been received. Because it has. The moment you felt it real within, the universe began its work. All you must do now is remain faithful to that version of you. Not the one who waits, but the one who knows. And in that knowing, everything unfolds.